I don't know what I'm doing. Genius. What I'm doing is enough. It's okay. I failed at annotating. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Diamond and this is another writing vlog. Today is July 18th and this is the second week of developing my characters for my fantasy novel. So I know in the last vlog, which was the first week of me developing my characters, I said that I was done with my 6 main characters and I was going to move on to my secondary and third level characters, but I actually decided to take a deeper look at my main characters, because I feel like the character profiles that I got online from Abby and Reedsy, they were good. I learned a lot about my characters just from those templates, but it really didn't give me like the depth I think that I'm looking for just with these 6 main characters. The other secondary and third characters, the templates would be totally fine to use, especially for my protagonist, antagonist, and love interests. I really want to go a little bit deeper into their flaws, their desires, really their character arcs. I really want to make sure that I understand the progression and the lessons that they're going to learn. So what I'm doing is I'm going through and doing some more research about character development and character profiles, and I stumbled upon who else but Brandon Sanderson's. He went to like a university and he just like taught hour-long classes about writing a fantasy novel, and he does have a playlist on YouTube, and then I think like 2 of those videos pertain to character development, so I'm watching those. And I'm just like trying to soak in all the information, and it's been really helpful so far. It's really challenging me to understand who are my characters, like in their brain, not so much like from the outside looking in, but more so from who they are in the inside. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm gonna go make some breakfast, sit down, watch the second video. I probably will not finish it. I don't want to take too much time like just sitting and not working. So I'll probably watch like 20-25 minutes of it while I eat my breakfast, and then from the information that I learn, I'll dive into the character developments more. And then I need to actually start like work because I do work from home. So we're just gonna be balancing working on characters and actually doing some actual work today. So
see, I've been thinking a million things I want to say. Now I'm looking in your eyes, but I'm wandering to your lips. See, I'm trying to keep it cool while I'm hovering for the kiss. 'Cause I've been eating you like old-fashioned orange slice, sweet like daiquiri with strawberry crushed ice. Know you like a margarita with the hot spice. Love the taste of paradise. No, it's never been the right time. Like we're holding back the storyline. And I'm waiting at the end of the night, thinking of you. Took your number from a friend, but I never called. I started writing a DM, didn't sleep at all. Not awake that night. And every time I go out, I'm looking around to see you there. Where are you? My heart skips beating when your perfume's in the air.
okay, so these are basically my notes, or how I broke down the Brandon Sanderson's character development video. Now this is all in like just a Google Doc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to my campfire, and this is just a page that I added. So I'm just gonna basically put all this information here and kind of like flesh it out for my protagonist, and I'm only going to do this for my protagonist. So it is July 20th now. It's been a couple of days that I've been working on the second week of developing my characters for my fantasy novel, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just really struggling with knowing when my characters are developed enough. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so let me back up a little bit. So right now, I am working on my 6 main characters, right? So I have like an overview. I've shown in, I think, the previous vlog. So I have an overview, like basic overview of who they are, their impact to the story, their wants, desires, needs, all that good stuff, personality traits. I have that, okay? But that didn't feel like enough, you know? Like, these are my main characters. These are the people who are driving the story, especially for my protagonists. I'm just like, there should be more to their profiles, I feel like. So I think you saw in one of the last scenes, I've been looking up like more character development videos and lessons. I stumbled upon Brandon Sanderson's character development. So I want to talk about some of the things that I learned from him that are kind of putting my mind at ease. I feel like once I figured this stuff out for my characters, I'll feel much better about like moving on to my 2nd and 3rd level characters. But for right now, I need to hash more stuff out. So the first thing that he talked about, which really made sense to me, was establishing empathy for your characters, which was basically like pulled from Save the Cat. Now, I have not read Save the Cat. I know what it is. I know everybody loves it. I probably should read it and get it. I'm gonna make a mental note to do that, but I have not read it yet. But the overview that he gave about establishing empathy for your characters was really good, and it really stood out to me. So basically, when you're establishing empathy for a character, you want to make sure they are relatable, and you want to show that they are popular or liked. So it is much easier for your readers to like a character if somebody in the book likes them. That's it. Establish empathy by being relatable and making sure they're likable. Cool. I can do that. That made sense to me, okay? Next, he talked about establishing the root interest of your characters, or like the motivation. So you want to understand their motivation, so what they want, the like limitations, why they can't have this, and the connection of this personal motivation to the overall plot. This is something that I did think about a little bit, but I never really thought about what is the connection to what they want, their motivation, the driving force behind them, to the overall plot. So that is something that I'm going to make sure to add into my character profiles. Okay, and these next 2 things are really what like blew my mind, okay? Because I didn't think about them. I'm gonna be honest, I did not think about them in the way, I didn't think about them in the way that he explained it. And he explains them like, he's brilliant, honestly. I'm just gonna say that. So the first is showing progress, which is all about, you want to establish how the character is going to change, which makes sense. You know, you don't want to have a stagnant character. You want it to be really apparent how they're changing over the course of the story. Show progress in different type of ways. You can show progress through their flaws. So let's say my character's flaw is that they are a know-it-all. They think that they know everything there is to know, and so their flaw throughout the book is them thinking that they know everything, but throughout the book they're running into problems where they know that they don't know everything. They need to ask for help. Another way you can show progress is just the journey that they go on, you know. And these are like the action beats of the story. So this is literally showing progress through action. Main character gets on a train, main character travels to Himalayan mountains, beat. Main character travels up the mountain, beat. Like that is literally showing progress through action. And the last thing that he talked about, well, not the last thing, but this is just what I want to go over, and what I'm really going to focus on with my characters today, is sliding scales. And so he basically said that to create a really good character, you have 3 sliding scales, one for likability, one for proactivity, and one for competence. And you want your characters to start somewhere on each of these sliding scales at the beginning of the book, and then you want by the end of the book to have their scales at different levels for each of these scales. So likability relates to empathy. It relates to, like we said in the beginning, this establishing empathy for your characters means that they are relatable and popular or likable. So you want to establish a sliding scale of how likable your character is. So not likable, very likable, and they fall somewhere on there. And then you want to have a sliding scale for proactivity, which relates to their motivations, or like what they want. So it's like if they really want something, if they're really motivated to go after something, they're going to be super proactive. If they don't have any motivations, if they don't really have anything that they desire, they're going to be very low on the proactivity scale. And then competence relates to their progress. It relates to how they move throughout the story, how they grow and how they change. Let's say you have a character who wants to learn how to fly airplanes in like World War II. So their competence in that at the beginning will be very low. And so the story and the progress of this character is showing them move up in competency, and at the end of the movie being able to fly these fighter jets in World War II. And so their competence moved up, and so they had progress throughout the story. Genius. Like this little nugget really like clicked in my brain. It clicked in my brain, and it really, like, I was like, okay, I feel like this is what I was missing. This is like just a quick, this is who your characters are, this is their motivations, this is how they're going to progress through the story. This is what I needed. And so do you see what he did there? He took the three things that we talked about in the beginning. So establishing empathy, establishing root interest, motivations, and showing progress. Empathy, motivations, progress. He took those three things and then added it into these sliding scales so you can really understand who your characters are. So for me, this is basically like a cheat sheet. It's like a legend or a key that I can use to understand how my characters are changing throughout the story. So I'm going to assign likability, proactivity, or competence at the highest scale to one of my main characters, right? So let's say my protagonist, her likability is at the highest, but her proactivity and competence will be lower or somewhere else on the sliding scale. I'm going to establish those for each one of my characters for the first half of my book. Then I'm going to have another section that says middle of the book, where we have the same sliding scales, but they've moved up and down. So I can see, okay, when I'm writing this book, my main character's competence was really low in the beginning, but by the middle of the book, her competence is supposed to be moved up, like to the middle, right? And so if the story that I've written does not show that her competence has moved up, then I've done something wrong, and I know how to problem solve that. So I'm super excited to do this little cheat sheet for each one of my characters and just have it. I'm going to do it digitally, but I'm also thinking about really writing it out and putting it on, what's it called? Like a whiteboard where my desk is, just so I can just see it and reference it quickly while I'm actually drafting the story. So that is the plan. That is the plan for now. I'm going to work on adding in the sliding scales to each one of my character profiles. And then hopefully, today is what, Thursday? I want to start next week fresh with my second and third level characters. So if you didn't know, I'm giving myself the month of July to establish my characters, and then I'm giving myself from August to November to do my world building and really establish some more plot beats. So yes, I want to really wrap up my main characters this week and hopefully get started on my second and third level characters. But the main characters are just so important, and I just see them. I see them in the story already. I see the story playing out, and that's why I'm just like being really thorough, I want to say, with making sure that I really understand who they are, because I see how important they are to the story already. Okay, so this is what I've created in Campfire, of course. Like I said, I have the sliding scale for the beginning, middle, and end. I have my likability, proactivity, and competence there. And this is for Erwina, my sidekick, confidant character. So her likability in the beginning and just basically for the middle and end, her likability is at the highest. She's a very likable character. The reader will be rooting for her and just wanting her to succeed. Her proactivity is very low. Now her competence is in the yellow right here. So these two right here are red. These two are red. These three will be yellow. And then when you get up to these three, these will be green. So right now she's in the middle of the yellow. So her competence would be she'll really start to understand that her flaw of not being motivated at all is really starting to affect who she is in her life. So she's starting to change that in the first half of the book. So that's why I put it here and it's not in red. For the middle of the book, I really, again, her likability, as you can see, will just stay high, but her proactivity, you can see it made a major jump from right here, because by the middle of the book, she's broken out of, you know, that rut of just staying home and not trying to achieve any of her dreams. She may not have achieved them, but she's trying to actually change her competence to be right on par with her proactivity, because it made sense that if she has motivations now, if her motivations is changing, then her competence with her progress and how she moves through the story should change too. So I put those together, and then by the end of the book, her likability will stay the same. Her proactivity will be at an all-time high because she has finally, you know, seen the world. This is what I'm working with right now. I'm gonna go ahead and do that for my other main characters here.
See, I've been thinking a million things I want to say. Now I'm looking in your eyes, but I'm wondering too.
Hi, hello. Today is Friday, July 21st. I am eating some of these delicious oatmeal cinnamon cookies that I made. I'm eating some of these delicious cinnamon streusel cookies that I made. They're delicious. I'm dipping them in milk and it's to die for. Okay, so I don't know the last thing that I left off, but I think I was doing these sliding scales for my characters. So I went ahead and finished that for all 6 of my main characters, and I'm really happy that I did that. It makes me feel better about like visually seeing their overall character arc for this first book. So I think I'm good to move on to my 2nd and 3rd level characters next week to kind of wrap up this whole character development month, and then start fresh with world building in August until November. And I just think the thing that I have to realize is that, one, I just feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I don't know when to stop, you know, like I still feel like there's so much more I could be doing for my character profiles, but then I look and I see that I already have so much information. It's just really hard to know how much information is enough, you know. But I have to remind myself that I'm just starting. I'm literally just started last month. And I have a long way to go, so I can always come back. I can always add. What I do today or this week doesn't have to be concrete and like final and finished. So I'm working on, or I want to work on, like knowing that what I'm doing is enough, is okay, and it's all gonna work out. Okay, wait, quick side note. I finished Yellowface. This book was so good. R.F. Kong's commentary and like satire on the publishing industry, amazing, beautifully written, so good, so much depth. I loved it. But on that note, I want to say that annotating was a fail. I failed at annotating, if you can see. Okay, so as you can see, I failed at annotating it. So I found myself reaching more for my pen and like underlining and writing things in the margins, and I reached for the tabs, and I don't know if like the colors just weren't giving me vibes, or if I didn't use them properly, like if I didn't set what I wanted the tabs to mean in a good concise way that made me want to use them. But I really didn't use these. I was just writing and underlining in the margins for the whole book, and that's just what I felt like doing. So I'm gonna try annotating with the tabs again with Amorta Longings, because I do have to read this one too. But This was such a good read, and I did it as a buddy read on Storygraph. So if anybody wants to buddy read any more books, I would love to do that, because that was so fun, having like commenting back and forth about where we were in the book. That is it for this week, this vlog. I'm really excited next week to wrap up characters and just move on to world building, because I know that that's going to be really fun but really challenging, and I'm up for the challenge. So I'm going to eat my other cookie, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I